So a couple of weeks back, I failed my driving test for the second time. And I'm pissed, enraged, furious. I'm going crazy here. Do you have any idea how much money I've spent by now in my bank account just to get a foul fail? I'm broke now. No dineros, nothing. And with how difficult it is to even get your license in England, with waiting times being up to 6 to 7 months, and tests cost about £200, I want to destroy the very thing that is society. But I digress. Me passing my driving test and getting my license would have led me to break out of the constant cycle of despair that is public transport. Because as useful as it is to helping you get around most places, being occasionally cost effective and a reliable source of transportation, it's still terrible. I want to be speeding down the streets at 9 PM listening to J. Cole, not sitting beside a crying baby with my AirPods barely working. That's some bullshit. And I'm not saying this to come off as some bougie entitled man that has the big bucks like my name is Scrooge McDuck, having a private chauffeur that drives me everywhere or some shit. My wallet's empty all the time. I'm saying this as somebody who's taken and still does take public transport their whole entire life. As a baby, through school, going on vacation, taking a boat through the middle of the ocean. I've been through it all. In reality, there's no way nobody hasn't taken a form of public transport in their life. And if you surprisingly haven't, well, you must be rich, man. But as good as it is generally getting you from point A to B, there's too many weird variables and strange phenomena that can make it traumatizing. Take buses, for example. Universally the most used transport for anyone. School kids, workers, the guy that probably lives on there, the whole shebang. Might be the most convenient way to get around the city. Especially for you men in America. You have school buses that pull up in your neighborhoods. That shit is blessed. But also, that's gonna get mad creepy at times. Like imagine those people that get on the bus with you now know where you live. I mean, what if they just pull up to your house and say hello? That's scary. But when it comes to just taking buses around, it can either be a carefree, normal commute, or it can end up like the purge. Like the times when I used to be in secondary school, when it came to going home, my main way to get home was by taking the bus. But because I was one out of 3 schools in the area sharing one bus stop, you can guess how that went. The bus stops would always be packed. People pushing and barging each other, doing a whole WWE moves to make sure they even get on the right bus. Because you know, as quick as they come, nobody's trying to be waiting another 3 minutes in the cold ass rain for the bus to come. I'm trying to get on now, fam. And the types of kids I used to hop on the bus with were some of the most unfiltered, no home training people I've ever witnessed in my life. If you're from any place that has double-decker buses, it is exactly like a rite of passage to go to the upper floor. That shit is like the hive spot for all the young people. Like the bottom floor is usually for the elderly, people with buggies, or if there's no space upstairs, you just stand there. And 99% of the time, the vast majority are gonna go upstairs. Now with you going upstairs, the people at the back of the bus are so degrading. Why are you so loud for? Every nigga on the bus can hear you, even the man them downstairs. Like I swear to God, you guys didn't understand how bad it was back then. I would be sitting at the front of the upper floor, AirPods are wide, earphones in, blasting rap music so I don't have to hear these lot scream. But they somehow overpower it every time. Where's the decorum? The manners? What do you have to be talking about that has to be so loud that everyone else has to hear your business? Shut up, man. And I'm saying this as somebody who's chilled at the back of the bus plenty of times before. It's a vibe spot to be in. But the screaming certain people used to get into is a level of annoying you really couldn't comprehend. In these times, I used to have to stay on the bus until near the very end. At least 3 stops before it would terminate. So for a good 12 to 13 stops, including tons of traffic, I would just hear people scream their asses off about a bunch of bullshit. Get off, man! And this is one of the few things that makes taking the bus a more hateful experience. Let me give all of you here a quick rundown of something. When it comes to taking buses in London, if you're a kid or a student up until the age of 18, you can get something called a Zip Oyster card, which basically gives you free access to most of the buses in London. Also discounts train prices and makes them a little bit cheaper. How nice of them. And long story short, with this card, it gives you free travel. Yet at the same time, everyone used to lose it. And depending on how chill the bus driver was, they would either just let it slide and be like, you ain't got your bus pass? Alright, man, get on the bus. Or they would hold it up like they clearly couldn't tell that the person in front of them is built like a school kid and start tweaking about them not having their bus pass. You ain't got your bus pass? You ain't got your bus pass? No. Deceiver. Criminal. Delinquent. Get the hell out. Get out. Who do I look like to you? El Chapo? I would be in school uniform. My school's logo around the blazer. He can clearly see that. Tucked in shirt, looking smart. And you still want to let me on this bus? I'm a kid. Like, don't get me wrong. I've lost my bus pass countless of times. And occasionally, they would let me on if I just asked them politely. I mean, it's a card. A lot of people lose cards. But then, when it came to a certain group of school kids, I would see trying to get on after losing theirs, It's no wonder some bus drivers are dickheads. Because either they would choose to have a whole nigga moment from the boondocks with them, staging a whole coup d'etat to get on, or they would just crash out at the driver, which would hold up the entire bus. Hey, what's up, young blood? You got your bus pass? What do you mean you lost it, bro? A dog ate your Oyster card. And somehow that dog is a London Zoo. So a dog ate your bus pass. It's in London Zoo, and somehow it made its way to Manchester. I would have let you on the bus if you just said please. Also, with these type of people, it didn't help that they used to wear bellies and look like they were gonna do some crazy shit. So I'm sure that's why they weren't allowed on in the first place. But these type of guys would hold up the entire bus, making me even more late to wherever I had to go. When I would have basketball training back in the days after school, the delays they would cause would be so bad, I would change on the bus. Yes, it was embarrassing. But you know what else is embarrassing? Truancy. It's disrespectful. I low-key miss the times I used to be a baby. Straight up, I was treated like a prince back then. I was fed well, had a whole section of a room to myself, and had my own form of transportation. Sitting in a buggy getting pushed around made me feel like that guy. I used to be balling back then. But now, I'm sitting on a seat looking at a phone number someone put on the back of them. I'm such a bum now. And speaking of bums, trains are trash too. Although I'm getting around the place, it's way better than a bus, I'll be real. Trains are more spacious, leading to a lot more people being able to get on them. They're fast as hell, blitzing through stations in like 5 to 10 minutes. And there's no traffic with it. So it's not like you could ever be late as long as you leave on time for the right train to catch. It's kind of perfect. But these are the only good things about them. After that, trains are a bunch of bullshit too. First off, with them being monumentally expensive. You could go on a train, beep your card on, get on for 1 or 2 stops, and the next day, you're waking up to your bank account being on overdraft. Cause why the hell for 1 stop would they charge me £10? £10! I know that might not seem like a lot, but I'm saying even the shortest distance by train there and back, it's still gonna end up being £10. So that's the minimum you'd end up spending every time. You know what else I could do with £10 with that amount of money? I could buy a boxed meal at Popeyes. And I know that might not seem like a lot, but Popeyes are just too bussin', man. And to most workers, £10 is almost like an hour of work. Horseshit. And trains in rush hour, whether it be in the mornings or past 5 p.m. after work, are mental. The whole train gets packed up. There's no space no more. It's like when the anchovies appeared in that one SpongeBob episode, fully overtaking the Krusty Krab, destroying everything. That's how trains are. You can't even move no more. You're frozen in the middle of the giant heap of people you're in. Not to mention, it's mad hot in here. I'm talking hell hot, man. Like 1 chip challenge hot. It's fuming in here. If you take any train that's underground, best believe you're gonna be feeling like it's a sauna in there. They ain't got no air conditioning. Where are my taxes going? And to be in a place where it's cold the majority of the year round, I'm obviously gonna be wearing a lot of layers anywhere. So when I do take any underground trains, I come out sweating my ass off. It's OD hot in there. But by far, the worst thing about trains is when your train is on diversion. See, a bus being on diversion is not that deep because, you know, there's multiple bus routes that go down the exact same way. So you're fine. You can just take an alternative and walk for a bit. But with trains, it's a different story. Most trains might go the same way, but they obviously end up at different places. So if you had a specific train you needed to get to go somewhere, and instead of going there, it's now on diversion, to summarize it quickly, you ain't going there no more. Now you can't. Because the route you wanted to take is blocked off because, I don't know, maybe there's construction going on. It's some bullshit. Now you gotta find another way around, which will probably take you twice as long to get to where you wanted to go now. It's cooked. And let me give you a scenario so I can help you understand it better. If you're coming in from the outskirts of a city and you're trying to go downtown, but the only way downtown is by taking one train that would take you exactly there. You find out after you already paid to enter the station that the train you wanted to go on is now diverted. You now look for a different way to get downtown, only to find out now you have to take a bunch of monkey travel methods to get there. You gotta take 2 trains now instead of 1. Another bus, 1 bicycle ride there. You're gonna be late. It's over. Now you're gonna be late to school. You're gonna be late to your test. You're going to fail. Your life has 0 purpose. It's over. And to that I say, riot. 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 Trains are hella reliable though. Truthfully, they're probably one of the best forms of transportation beside cars. But when diversions start happening often and you realize the price you're paying to even be on a train, yeah, it's no wonder people bump barriers, man. Ain't nobody trying to pay for this. Oh, and you think I'm done with this, little red? No, I'm coming for all forms of public transport now. Airplanes? Hell no. Cruises? No. People who drive motorhomes? Who are you? I don't trust you, man. In fact, we're gonna segue into the best part of this video. My beautiful and loyal subscribers and people who have watched me have sent in some of their own personal public transport stories, in where I've read some of these and thought to myself, how are you not in a mental institution? Some of you men have crazy experiences. I don't know how you're still sane after this. Anyway, I don't want to spend too much time yapping so I can read a lot more confessions. So I'm going to read some of the worst ones on this list because there's a lot of mad behavior in some of these stories. I'm not going to lie to you. So without further ado, let's go. So me and my brother were coming back from school and there was this crazy kid, about 11 or 12, that kept being loud AF and was jumping around from seat to seat. The bus was pretty full of other kids and general public because it was a public bus, not private. So old ladies would turn around and shake their head. For some reason, the kid knew us. I saw him before, but never spoken to him. So suddenly, I was part of his scheme. Like some kind of perpetrator. I was put in the same pot as him, which of course meant I was getting odd looks as well, despite me not talking to him or looking at him. Just before we arrived at our stop, I thought it was over. Little did I know that the situation would get worse. Faye had other plans for me that day. The bus driver stopped the bus, left the cabin, and walked to the back of the bus where we were and shouted, "Would you please sit down?" Total silence. He didn't sit down after that. Our stop was right after. Why couldn't that happen after we left, man? Man, I swear down, I hate when that happens. When you get roped into stupid shit just because you may know somebody. Like, you might be in my homeroom class, but I ain't know you ain't friends. Except for the guy who would give me a spare pencil. I love you. One day, me and my boys were coming back from a night out, and on the train, one of my boys, we'll call him Jay, started pressing one of my other boys. But the whole group ain't F with Jay, except for me. One thing led to another, and Jay got jumped by the whole group on the train with nowhere to run. My crossfitted ass just sat there and watched. Shit was peak. Alright, this is less about transport than it is about you being a terrible friend. You really thought I wasn't gonna expose you here, huh? Cause what do you mean you watch your boy get jumped by your other boys? What type of person are you? You need to lose all your friends and lock yourself away. You're terrible, bro. I remember this like it was yesterday. I was driving and then I wasn't. Power to you, my brother. Mate, this was absolutely disgusting. Was on the way back home from work on the bus, went upstairs to the top deck and sat down. Bus wasn't too busy. I was near the back and there were a few people dotted around. As I'm staring out the window, just decompressing and trying to chill, every so often, I'm hearing snip, snip. I look up and 3 rows in front of me with their bare toes curled over the seat in front is somebody hacking at their toenails with nail clippers. Bare dogs out in public, shearing them down. I gagged. It was horrific. I could see the remnants of their talons arching through the air. Not dramatic or anything, but literally the boldest and grossest thing I've ever seen someone do on public transport. They were so nonchalant cutting their nails in public and leaving them wherever they flew off to. Nah, I can't. See, this gets me thinking, have human beings just lost decorum as the years have gone by? Like, are we just a bunch of monkeys who eat flies off each other? I'm not even trying to be disrespectful, but whatever happened to home training? Because apparently, some people lack it now. It's nasty. I feel for you, man. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Okay, so check this out. I was like 9 on the train really late at night by myself. I snuck out a lot. There was only an old lady who looked genuinely really sweet, so I didn't think much of her. I was on my phone, so I have no awareness. Tell me why I look up, and this effing grandma is in the middle of the train taking a dookie. So I'm completely grossed out, and I hear her stop coming up. I could just take the next train. So I wait for my train to stop, and as it's stopping and I'm getting up, she starts screaming, and I look over. She is picking up the dookie. She just took it and is looking at me while screaming. I was like, dear God. And the door's open. She starts running toward me with the dookie. And I don't think I've ran my little fat ass past the outer train. And I look back and she stays in the train car and eats the dookie. Safe to say, I didn't sneak out for a while after that. Yo, have you guys ever seen a movie called Legion where the old lady starts moving crazy because she's a fallen angel or something? That's what this story gives the impression of. What possessed an old woman to try and throw a number 2 at you? That's diabolical. Not to mention, how did your parents not notice you sneaking out at 9? Did you have a secret tunnel or something? That's crazy. This isn't something that happened to me, but my grandparents. So there was this one time my grandparents and older cousins were in NYC. They had wanted some food for them and my cousins. So they went to get some fried chicken at night and took the subway. Little did they know, they were being followed by at least 30 homeless people on the train. They said they were sniffing them and groveling over the gust of that chicken. Apparently one even licked them. They said they ran out that subway car as fast as they could so they couldn't get followed to their room. Apparently they saw some other weird things, but my grandparents and cousins are still alive. So I guess it all ended up a-okay. I mean, shit, that story's kind of crazy. But I mean, they still got the fried chicken though. A win's a win. High five, they did it, man. This story takes place back to my first days in kindergarten when I was riding the bus with my older brother. There was a guy that my brother absolutely despised who was sitting behind us on the bus. We'll call him Jaden. He was a bully who constantly talked smack about my brother and people smaller than himself. Jaden was introducing himself to me while we were on the school bus. He extended his hand for a handshake, but my brother told me not to touch him. I saw Jaden's friends smiling and giggling on the side of him. I contemplated my decision for a few seconds, exchanging glances between the guy and my brother before the most nefarious, most devious idea emerged from the darkest corners of my brain. I stood up, turned around, and shoved my clothed backside into the bully's face. Then I let out the loudest gust of wind from my cheeks that I have never had the fortune of producing in my life, ever again. The entire back of the bus erupted in shock and laughter, causing the bus driver to pull over. I turned to see Jaden's face in absolute horror, gasping and staring at me with sheer disgust. All the while, my brother had the happiest smile on his face. How evil do you have to be to fart in a whole other kid's face? Like, I get why you did it, but you probably gave it pink eye. You did catch a window, man. And you know what they say. Revenge is a dish best served smelly. You were just defending your brother. I see no wrong here. And now, this brings me to the last story I want to share for the video. But first off, I wanted to go ahead and thank every single one of you who shared a story. I appreciate it a lot, and I'm grateful for whatever you did send. Even if it was some weird shit. You know who you are, bro. I'm sorry that I can't take all of them and throw them in the video, but maybe we can do something like that another time. And without further ado, here's the final story. Before moving to America, I lived in a small town in southeast-ish Durango, Mexico. The surrounding states were occupied by the Sinaloa cartel, but the area I lived in wasn't as heavy as other areas, especially since we lived farther from the mountains, where narcotics are being made. After El Chapo was named the 701st richest man by Forbes in 2009, cartel activity started to get heavier. One of the biggest things my mother would warn me about is to respect the cartel, since they had a habit of making people disappear if any sort of disrespect is shown toward them. Around Christmas, me and a couple of school friends got on a transit from one town to another to visit an older friend's cousin. One of the guys there would do petty thefts in town to support his grandma or someone like that, and always had problems with authority. While on the bus, he got into an argument with an older guy over giving his seat up to some older woman who was standing next to my friend. While that was happening, two other guys brandishing walkie-talkies and handguns got onto the bus and yelled at the driver. My friend that was arguing was heated from arguing with the old man and started to yell at the guys. The group of guys proceeded to pull my friend and the bus driver out of the bus. They pushed them onto their vehicles and drove off. A week later, the both of them turned up dead. My aunt told me years later that the bus driver would snitch out members to opposing cartels for cash, and they went onto the bus to question him. Because of my friend arguing, they instead took them both and murked them as a show of power. This thing happens all the time, and this one was pretty tame compared to the other stories I would hear when I go back to visit. Well, guess I'm never visiting Mexico. You never gonna see me there now, believe it. But all jokes aside, I'm happy you made it out of that place. It just sounds terrible. And this is everything I wanted to go about today. Most of their hate just comes from me failing my driving test again. But I've invested way too much money to stop anyway. Plus, them late night drives are calling me, so I gotta keep at it. If you guys have any more embarrassing transport stories or anything you personally hate about public transport, write it in the comments, man. I appreciate anyone who made it this far in the video. I hope you have a wonderful day. And the moral of this yapping session, my Lord and Savior, Jermaine Cole is retiring. No! Oh, and also Dragon Ball Super Season 2 is coming, baby! Let's get it!